Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. This is your educator Shruti and welcome to my YouTube channel Prepare with Shruti. So this is the last part of our Modern India Important Topics series based on the analysis of the previous year UPSC prelims question papers. And all these 7 parts would be very useful not only for the aspirants who are preparing for the upcoming UPSC prelims exam, but also for those aspirants who are preparing for state public services like the APSC exam or any other government exam, because modern India, as I always say, is an extremely integral component of your general studies paper. Okay, so with that, let us get started with today's class. However, before we start looking at the questions, please subscribe to my channel Prepare with Shruti, and do click on the bell icon for all the latest updates, and do like and share these videos because it would really motivate me to come up with good and relevant content for you. And you can also connect with me on my Facebook page Prepare with Shruti. So with that, let us start looking at the questions. Now the first topic, which is very important from your exam point of view and which we are going to discuss today, is your socio-religious movements, okay, or your socio-religious reform movements. So let's look at the questions and simultaneously we can also discuss about it, okay. So the question is, which of the following statements is correct regarding the Brahmo Samaj? And this was asked in 2012. First statement, it opposed idolatry. Second statement, it denied the need for a priestly class for interpreting the religious text. And third statement is, it popularized the doctrine that Vedas are infallible. We have to select the correct codes. Now, if you look at this question carefully, you would realize that this question also revolves around the basic features of your Brahmo Samaj, the basic ideologies related to the Brahmo Samaj. And if you are thorough with any basic textbook that you have been following for modern India, be it your NCERTs or be it your Spectrum, you can easily identify the correct option in the exam and you can easily solve these type of factual questions in the exam, okay. So let's start decoding the statements. The first statement is obviously correct because we know that Brahmo Samaj was against idol worship. The second statement is also correct. Brahmo Samaj did not believe in meaningless rituals and the need for a priestly class for interpreting the religious text. This is also correct. But the third statement is wrong. Okay, it is not true. It is not true that Brahmo Samaj popularized the doctrine that Vedas are infallible. It did not promote any such thing. And basically, this Brahmo Samaj interpreted the scriptures, interpreted the religious texts through the lens of logic and reason. Okay, so logic and reason were attached a lot of importance by Brahmo Samaj. So here the first and second statements are correct, but the third statement is not correct, and therefore the answer is B, that is 1 and 2 only. Okay. Now let us look at the next question, and this was asked in 2016. Satya Sodhak Samaj organized. Again a very easy and factual question. Here the answer would be C, an anti-caste movement in Maharashtra. So Satya Sodhak Samaj was started by your Jyotiba Phule, and it was basically against the upper caste domination and Brahmanical supremacy. Okay. Then let's look at the next question. Yes, consider the following, and this was again asked in 2016. Three organizations are given. First is Calcutta Unitarian Committee, second is Tabernacle of New Dispensation, third is Indian Reform Association. Now Keshav Chandra Sen is associated with the establishment of which of the above? So here this third institution is commonly mentioned in your basic textbook, but this Tabernacle of New Dispensation is mentioned in this book called Plasi to Partition by Shekhar Bantopadhyay. So if you have read that and if you have solved the test papers, you can easily identify that here the answer would be B, that is 2 and 3. So Keshav Chandra Sen was associated with Tabernacle of New Dispensation and Indian Reform Association. He was not associated with Calcutta Unitarian Committee. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was associated with Calcutta Unitarian Committee. So here the answer is 2 and 3. That is B. Okay. Now the next topic, which again is very important from your exam point of view, is your subsidiary alliance. And when you prepare the topic of subsidiary alliance, you should simultaneously prepare the topic of doctrine of lapse, because if question on subsidiary alliance can come, then question on doctrine of lapse can also come. Subsidiary alliance is associated with your Lord Richard Wellesley, and doctrine of lapse is associated with your Lord Dalhousie. Okay, so let's start looking at the questions. Which of the following statements does not apply to the system of subsidiary alliance introduced by Lord Wellesley? The options are: option A, to maintain a large standing army at the other's expense. This is correct. Option B, to keep India safe from Napoleonic danger. This is also correct. Option C, to secure a fixed income for the company. And option D, to establish British paramountcy over the Indian states. See, first option is correct, option A is correct, option B is correct, and option D is also correct. But option C is not correct. It is not true in the context of subsidiary alliance, okay, introduced by Lord Wellesley. So basically, under this subsidiary alliance, the British was to be responsible for protecting their ally from external and internal threats, okay, and in the territory of the ally, a British armed contingent was to be stationed, and the ally was to provide for the resources for maintaining the contingent, and he could enter into agreements with other rulers or engage in warfare with the other rulers only with the permission of the British. Okay, so this is the crux of subsidiary alliance, and the first state to enter into your subsidiary alliance with the British is Hyderabad, 1798 Hyderabad. So here the answer is C. It is not true. Okay. Then the next topic, which is important from your exam point of view, is your education. Of late, questions have started coming on this topic, and while you are preparing this topic of education, you should also focus on development of press. It also becomes important from your exam point of view. Now the question is, which of the following led to the introduction of English education in India? The first is Charter Act of 1813, second is General Committee of Public Instruction, and the third is Orientalist Anglicist controversy. We have to select the correct codes. Now if you have read your spectrum, if you have read your basic textbook, you can easily identify that in this case all these three are related to the introduction of English education in India, and therefore the answer would be D, that is 1, 2 and 3. Okay. Now let us look at the next question. With reference to educational institutions during colonial rule in India, consider the following pairs, and this was again asked in 2018. So they have named some institutions along with the founders, and we have to guess the correct pair. Okay, so here only this option B is correct, that is 2 is correct. Calcutta Madrasa was established by Warren Hastings in 1781 for the study of Muslim law and its related subjects. Okay, then Sanskrit College was not started by William Jones. Sanskrit College was started by Jonathan Duncan in 1971 for the study of Hindu law and philosophy. And Fort William College was started by Richard Wellesley and not Arthur Wellesley in 1800 for training the civil servants of the company in languages and customs of India. Okay, so here only this second pair is correct, and therefore the answer would be B. Okay, now let us look at the next question. Again, you can see a question related to education, which is on Wood's Dispatch, Magna Carta of English Education in India. Wood's Dispatch is very important from your exam point of view, and this question basically revolves around the main features of Wood's Dispatch. Okay, so the first statement is grants and aid was introduced. Okay, Then second statement is establishment of universities was recommended, and the third statement is English as the medium of instruction at all levels of education was recommended. So again I'll say that, and I might sound repetitive, but it is true that if you have read your basic textbook like Spectrum, you can easily answer this type of question in the exam. Okay, so here the first two statements are correct. It is true that grants and aid system was introduced. It also talked about establishment of universities. It recommended the establishment of universities. So these two are correct, but this third statement is not correct. Why? Because this Wood's dispatch, it recommended English as the medium of instruction for higher studies and vernaculars at school level. So it is wrong that English as the medium of instruction at all levels of education was recommended. It is absolutely not true. It recommended English as the medium of instruction for higher studies and vernaculars at the school level. And apart from the points mentioned in the slide, it also laid stress on, female education, vocational education, and also laid a lot of emphasis on teachers training. Okay. Then, so here the answer would be A, that is 1 and 2. The next important topic from your exam point of view is your tribal movements. Okay, so the question is, which among the following provided a common factor for tribal insurrection in India in 19th century? And this was asked in 2011. Options are: option A, introduction of a new system of land revenue and taxation of tribal products; option B, influence of foreign religious missionaries in tribal areas; option C, rise of a large number of moneylenders, traders and revenue farmers as middlemen in tribal areas; and option D, the complete disruption of old agrarian order of tribal communities. So here, all these statements are more or less correct, but since we have to identify the common factor, so here the answer would be C, that is rise of a large number of moneylenders, traders and revenue farmers as middlemen in tribal areas. Okay. Then let us look at the next question. The demand for Tibhaga peasant movement in Bengal was for. So this Tibhaga movement took place in the year 1946 in Bengal, and here the answer is A, that is the reduction of the share of landlords from 1/2 of the crop to 1/3. Again a very basic question related to the aim of this Tibhaga peasant movement. Then let us look at the next question. After the Santhal uprising subsided, what were the measures taken by the colonial government? And this was asked in 2018. First statement, the territories called Santhal Parganas were created, and second, it became illegal for a Santhal to transfer land to a non-Santhal. We have to select the correct codes. So this Santhal rebellion of 1855 led by Sidhu Kanhu against the outsiders whom they refer to as Dikus. It's very important, and after this rebellion was over, these two steps were taken by the government. So both these statements are true. It is true that the government created territories called Santhal Parganas, and it is also true that after the Santhal uprising it became illegal for a Santhal to transfer land to a non-Santhal. So here the answer is C, that is both 1 and 2. So yes, this was all for today's class, and with that we have covered all the important topics of modern Indian history from your exam point of view in 7 parts. So I hope you found these series useful, and I'll soon come up with some very interesting and nice lectures on a variety of topics. So keep practicing, keep studying, stay safe. Thank you. Have a nice day.